Where is Aaron right now?
Hi everyone, Aaron here. Happy Sunday and welcome back to the channel. So depending on how far down the Scientology rabbit hole you have gone, you've heard Scientologists talk about things like going OT or OT powers or saving the planet or becoming cause over life. And these phrases and concepts, they relate to the fact that Scientologists believe every being on planet Earth is natively godlike. And I mean actually godlike, whether you're talking about the Greek gods or the one supreme being God, or perhaps, like the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Actually, this is a good one. The Guardians of the Galaxy movie, the father figure played by Kurt Russell, his role in this movie, he's sort of this spiritual being who assumes a physical form, but he creates worlds and universes, and it's really kind of for fun and kind of a game. And when you hear Scientologists talking about doing the bridge to total freedom, it is the process of Scientology auditing by which Scientologists believe we will all regain our native godlike spiritual abilities. And so the reason I'm explaining all this is because as Scientologists move up the bridge, they will write stories that are supposed to be examples of them regaining their OT powers. OT means operating Thetan. Operating Thetan means a Thetan operating more like they are supposed to be operating at their full capacity, more closer to native state. And Scientology will publish these stories in the magazines that are put out by Scientology's advanced organizations. And they publish these stories and they call them OT wins or OT phenomena. So taking a look at some of the stories that Scientologists tell of, look at me regaining my OT powers, this can partially answer the question, what are Scientologists trying to achieve? So let's take a look at some of these because they are hilarious. This morning on the Underground Bunker blog, Tony Ortega published some excerpts of these OT phenomena. These are real examples of what Scientologists consider to be OT powers. Okay, so here's one. Gone with the Wind. I had just completed new OT5 and left for the airport to fly home. I boarded my plane, but there was a big storm that day and violent gusts of wind were raging around the airport. The plane's engines were running, but the pilot couldn't leave the gate due to the weather. I decided to handle this. I put my attention on the gusts. I felt as though I got in touch with them. So did you get in touch with the wind? Or did you get in touch with the Thetans that were controlling the wind? It's not entirely clear. Soon I experienced relief. As if by magic, the winds died down and the pilot left the gate and began to taxi down the runway. I was super happy, but I thought, oh, that's interesting. But it was probably just a coincidence. The plane sped up, but once again, the violent winds gusted, preventing our departure. I did the same thing as before, getting in touch with the wind. I perceived it as ridges around the plane. A ridge is a concept that factors into a lot of Scientology auditing of basically stuck energy because two forces collided, essentially. Okay, so it says, I perceived it as ridges around the plane, and then again, I felt relief. Suddenly, we accelerated and the plane lifted off. My goodness! We departed on time and arrived without delay. I thought to myself, 2 times in a row? That's no coincidence. That's OT power. So, the saying, correlation does not equal causation. I don't know that it's a saying, it's more just it's like a maxim, it's a statement of fact. The concept correlation does not equal causation doesn't exist in Scientology. This is one of the things that makes Scientology's system of management, while better than absolutely nothing, completely inadequate and ridiculous. Because even, forget auditing, even the way Scientology manages its organizations, when it's trying to figure out why something improved or why something got worse, they believe that correlation does actually equal causation. It's total insanity. Okay, the next one, 1 in a million. A few years ago, I went to visit a friend who was on vacation in one of Italy's most popular seaside towns. It draws nearly 1 million vacationers each summer. I arrived in the town planning to meet my friend, but when I looked in my wallet for the card with his address and phone number, I couldn't find it. That's when I realized I had forgotten it at home and there was no one there to retrieve it for me. You went to go visit a friend in another country and the only information on how to contact the person was written on a piece of paper in your pocket or your wallet. This doesn't make any sense at all. Anyway, I wondered how I would ever locate my friend in the midst of all those tourists. Then I thought, wait a minute, I didn't come here for nothing. And I postulated I would find him no matter what. Postulated is a Scientology word that basically just means you made a decision, a definite decision that something was going to happen. With my suitcase in hand, I started walking along the beach through a sea of sunbathers. What? walking along the beach with a suitcase. So you didn't even have a hotel to go to. You didn't have anywhere to stay. You didn't have anywhere. You arrived in a country to meet someone and you had no way to contact this person. Like, this story is absurd. I came to a small bridge crossing over a canal, and there, right in the middle of a bridge walking toward me, was my friend. We stared at each other in disbelief. Why would he be in disbelief? Why would he be in disbelief? Did he have no idea you were going to be arriving at a particular date and time and location? This doesn't make any sense. He told me that a moment before he had gotten the impulse to walk along the beach. Once again, a postulate saves the day. End of vacation. I feel like there's a lot of context missing from this story. But guys, this is OT powers. I mean, this is what was published in a magazine. Like all the Scientologists in Los Angeles, or who knows, maybe this was from the advanced organization in Europe or the United Kingdom. I'm not actually totally sure. Everyone submitted their stories of OT powers. These are the ones that the editor selected of everything that was submitted. Okay, here's the next one. Feeling good. I was in session on new OT5 when suddenly a person I love a lot got my attention. Now, this would be like telepathically got my attention. She had a lot of physical problems, including difficulty walking. A few hours later, she called me and told me she had so much energy that she'd been up and down the basement stairs to do her laundry. Oh, wow. She couldn't explain why she felt so good, but she was very happy about it. In my next session, I realized that I had caused that change, which really made me feel good. The power of new OT5 is incredible. Wow, that's remarkable. So having heard this story, I mean, you must be dying to do Scientology's Bridge to Total Freedom. If you plunk down several $100,000 and several years of your life dedicated to doing all of this auditing, you too can have a friend who is able to walk up and down the stairs and do some laundry. Okay, the next one, nightlight. I used to live in an old building with very long corridors. We often had power outages. One night I needed to make my way to a room at the end of a hallway, and just my luck, the power was out again. It was so dark that I couldn't even see my hands. I started making my way down the hall and then stopped. I decided to go into communication with my surroundings and see what I could perceive. I suddenly noticed a slight light blue tinge. Then the outlines of the hallway and doors became visible. I wondered where the light was coming from, but I couldn't find its source. Then I realized I had become the light source. One thing that strikes me about this story is that it's not being written from the viewpoint of present tense I used to live in a building. So someone sat down and wrote a story about something that happened way back when for some reason. Scientology must be running short of people currently doing the OT levels who can submit OT wins from the present time. They're having to go back into the archive. What cracks me up when I read this story is I can just picture this person walking into a dark corridor and like it takes a while for their eyes to adjust. And they're like, oh, it's so black, I can't see my hand in front of my face. And then as they sit there, their eyes start to adjust and they start to see the outline of some things. And then they go, I am the light. Guys, this is the best of the best. This was the creme de la creme of the OT wins that got submitted. Unbelievable. Okay, a new beginning. I am new OT5 and I have a very stable skill of communicating on a spiritual level as an OT. Now guys, I realize I haven't explained it in this video. On OT 3 and 4 and 5 and 7, 6 is just a training course, Scientologists are telepathically communicating with disembodied spirits and auditing them using Scientology auditing procedures to help to fix these spiritual beings that have a lot of things wrong with them. When you hear people talking about Xenu, the Xenu story that L. Ron Hubbard came up with is his story, his explanation for how all these spiritual beings got so messed up. And on OT 3, 4, 5, and 7, Scientologists, for hundreds and thousands of hours, are telepathically communicating with these beings. So Scientologist, Grant Cardone is an OT8. Grant Cardone believes he can telepathically communicate with spiritual beings. The next person to interview Grant Cardone should ask him about that. So when you talk about this person here saying, I'm on OT5, I have a very stable skill of communicating on a spiritual level, that's what all Scientologists who are on the OT levels think that they can do. Okay, so this person continues. I recently had an experience with my mother-in-law. that I will never forget. Uh-oh, I don't know where this is going. She had been going through medical treatment for several months when the doctors informed us there was nothing more that could be done, and so she went home. The following day after visiting her, I was at work and I knew I needed to be in touch again spiritually. I reached out and a very strong charge of grief and terror came from her. I simply acknowledged it. This happened again and again. On the third communication, she was completely calm about what she was facing. I told her she should appear at the hospital where she had stayed, go to the maternity ward, and find a new body. That same evening, she passed away. I got in communication with her and found her in the middle of a courtyard at the hospital, seemingly confused. So we're talking about, a spiritual being. She found her as a being stuck in this courtyard, confused. So I approached her, again, not physically, gave her a locational assist. A locational assist in Scientology, you just tell people, look at that, thank you, look at that, thank you, look at that, thank you. If Scientologists are upset about something, oftentimes someone will go outside with them and walk around with them and give them a locational assist because it's not acceptable to be upset about things. In Scientology, if someone is upset about anything, something must be done about it. Negative emotions are unacceptable. So I gave her a locational assist and indicated the building where the maternity ward was. She understood and disappeared. The next day I got in touch with her again. She told me she had found a newborn body and was very happy. She said she had passed the dramatic moment of her death and was ready to start her new life. I am very proud to be OT and very happy to have been able to help her through that difficult situation. So this one in particular of each of these 3 or 4 stories really encapsulates what Scientologists believe it means to really be a Scientologist. It doesn't have anything to do with helping people the way normal religions would think about it. It's not about helping the poor or, the unfortunate or the disenfranchised or the underprivileged or anything like that. Scientology believes that it is about helping on a spiritual level, and therefore to understand what Scientologists even think they're doing, you have to understand what they believe about what existence even is and about who we even are or where we came from, and their beliefs about planet Earth and the role of planet Earth and how this is just a prison planet, and how we as spiritual beings, we're stuck in these bodies. These bodies are actual prisons, and that in our native state, Thetans exist actually outside of the physical universe. Like Scientologists believe that Thetans created the physical universe just really more or less to have a game. I mentioned before the analogy of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. If you haven't seen that movie, first of all, they're great movies, watch them. But I think it's the second movie is where they introduce Kurt Russell's character, and he plays this god-like figure. And it is remarkable how much the way that character is written in that movie matches up with what Scientologists believe a full operating Thetan actually is. So if you watch The Matrix, and if you watch, I think it's the second volume of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then if you watch a video, I'll put a link to it up above, that I did explaining how the movie The Matrix is remarkably similar to what Scientologists believe about the nature of reality, you'll actually have a pretty decent understanding of what Scientology is, how Scientologists view Scientology itself, and how Scientologists view reality. So check out those movies and watch my Matrix video and let me know what you think. All right, everyone, that's all I have for now. Thank you for watching. Thank you, of course, to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe